What's up, everyone? Welcome to the most positive pop culture podcast in the Multiverse Metalcore Nerds, the podcast that has members of your favorite bands as we explore their love of pop culture. I'm your host, Sean Mott, and today I'm joined by Vince, Xavier, and John, all of Second Harbour. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Very, very stoked to have you guys on here. A massive fan of the band personally. And once I heard you guys were movie fans, and as I've heard a little pre-recording, movie and film fans, I'm excited to get into these lists. I love a good list. And the best thing about lists cannot be wrong.
Yes,
you can disagree with someone's list.
Mm-hmm.
The list cannot be wrong.
Yeah, that's gonna help me out here in my movie list. I think there are gonna be some questionable choices, but
I don't think so. I think it's a nice list. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. So today we are going to be ranking our top 10 most anticipated movies of 2026. This is a big year for movies across the board. There's a lot happening, a lot going on. I actually had a hard time picking 10 to put in. I'm still kind of unsure about it, to be honest. I'm pretty sure about my top 5 or 6. Pretty confident in those. The other ones, I don't know. It could change by the day. It's hard.
Yeah,
that's a good problem to have. Now, whether you return to the show or first time listener, thank you so much for tuning in. Best way to support the show, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment. Let us know what movies you're stoked about that are coming out in 2026. And if you're listening to your favorite podcasting platform, also subscribe there. Leave us a 5-star review. Helps podcast continue to grow. Helps more people find the show. And if you want your daily fix of Metalcore Nerds, you can find us on all social media at Metalcore Nerds. Now let's get into this. Top 10. These are always kind of longer episodes. I'll kick it off with number 10. My number 10, as recording this trailer came out yesterday. As you're listening to this trailer came out a while ago. But Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, the sequel to Ready or Not. Radio Silence, Samara Weaving, Catherine Newton is joining the cast, Sarah Michelle Gellar is joining the cast. And at first, when they announced it, I was stoked because I'm a big Radio Silence fan. I think they do great, fun horror very well. And when I first watched Ready or Not, it wasn't in theaters or anything. It was on Hulu. I watched it. The ending like blew my mind. I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming. So I was like, how are they going to continue this? First trailer comes out. I'm like, oh, this is the perfect way to continue it. Let's go. I was already excited. I'm even more stoked. And that's what got it into my number 10. Do any of you guys have that on your list?
Not only is it on my list, this is Team Movies number 10. I swear, this is right here.
Let's go.
Same thing. We're big horror guys. Like you said, it's such a movie that I went into it. It's like having seen maybe a couple seconds before I watched the movie. Like I hadn't seen the trailer before watching the movie. Really, it was really just maybe some screenshots or whatever talk online about it at the time, which wasn't all that much from what I remember. It really was a surprising and fun and cool movie where, the twist at the end was really lovely. To me, this is a wild comparison, but it felt like if Indiana Jones were a horror movie to me, where it was like the kind of twist at the end was sort of that same kind of world. Like it's just an interesting movie that keeps your attention the whole way through. And then come the end, it sort of wraps it up perfectly. So in that sense, it's like an Indiana Jones film where it's just like on the edge of your seat and then delivers the nice final blow to keep you, just like satisfied after you've watched it. So that's our number 10 for John and I.
Yeah, I at my top of my list, I got Resident Evil because we used to play like the Resident Evil games when I was a kid. So that's like just a game. I guess that kind of was like our first real introduction to horror kind of when we were younger. It was a thing my dad would use as like a reward for things and be like, here, like you get to play this super violent video games that you guys like for some weird reason. So yeah, I think Resident Evil is my number 10.
I have Resident Evil at my number 8. I have never played any of the games. I like video games. I like playing them. Like The Last of Us is my favorite video game, but I didn't play a lot growing up. It was very kind of infrequent. It was mostly like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Dave Mirra's Pro Style or like that stuff, not any of those like the big world games like that. But Zach Cregger's is making Resident Evil, and that's why I'm excited for it. Absolutely. Because that dude is 2 for 2 in my book.
Yes.
And anything he's going to do, I'm like, let's go. I don't care what it is. I am in.
Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, Barbarian was the first movie I ever saw twice in theaters where I was like, oh, I'm compelled to go back to the movies again. Like that was that movie for me. So I feel the same way.
I love what he's doing because I know there's been a lot of Resident Evil adaptations, and
Yes.
all of them are pretty bad.
Yeah.
I haven't even watched all of them to be honest, just because people are like, "It sucks," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay, that's enough."
Just save the time. Like, don't even
That's
bother. I've seen them. They're not great.
yeah, that's enough for me. I'm like, okay, I'd rather watch something I'd enjoy than something that like pretty much across the board everyone's like is bad. So I'm good, and I know he's a big fan of the game, which I think we've learned in recent years with video game adaptations. You need people who are fans of the game to make this stuff, or it does not work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Especially a game like Resident Evil was a very specific game at the time. Like it was a
right.
lot more, it had a lot of its own rules that other games didn't have. And like they were one of the first games to really have that like, oh, you have like 7 bullets to do a whole game kind of thing. Like it was just crazy at the time to introduce all these elements.
The cast is pretty wild. They've only released a few people. Austin Abrams, who is obviously he's been in a lot of stuff in general, but I think his kind of defining role was him in Weapons. Such an he's I'm phobic. Like, iconic. That dude is iconic. Paul Walter Hauser's in it, who I love Paul Walter Hauser. And I've
Yes.
seen him in serious dramatic stuff before, but I don't think I've seen him in like a horror thing. So I'm very excited to see him in that world.
So either we've seen him in Fantastic Four. We see obviously, which is one of my nerdy movies. I think we saw him. For us, the introduction was in I Think You Should Leave. Seeing him in that one sketch,
Oh,
he
yep.
leaves his friend's place because he misses his wife, which was great. But yeah, no, he's great. Yeah, I feel the same way.
And then of course Zach Sherry's in it, who is Severance. He's in Fallout. He's the guy who tells Spider-Man to do a front flip in Spider-Man Homecoming.
That you already know
Now you're
how to
speaking my
explain it
language,
to this guy.
So I had Resident Evil at number 8. So number 9, Xavier and John first.
If you want to introduce this one,
Oh yeah.
sitting on number 9 here.
We've got Violent Night 2.
And yeah, Violent Night 2.
Okay.
To me, one of the goofiest horror-esque it's not even horror, it's like a thriller action movie. It does have
Yes.
some cool like horror a little bit elements to it. Maybe that's just me because I feel like that the whole Christmas vibe is kind of horror leaning. Just a cool movie. It's just it's like the Fast and Furious of holiday action movies. It's just you know what you're getting. You know it's gonna be a dumb fun time, and
But you're gonna have a good time.
yeah, you're not going to
Oh,
try.
yeah.
I don't think David Harbour's like swinging for an Oscar in that specific movie. I think he's just there to be like, "Hey, I'm Santa, and I'm gonna kick some ass." Like, and he delivers, and I'm like, "Oh yeah!" So that's fun. I think Violent Night 2. I haven't even watched the trailer because I like we know we're just
neither.
buying tickets. We were just buying tickets. We don't need to see the trailer. We're going. We're gonna see David Harbour and he's gonna do his thing. It's gonna be cool. Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
That one didn't make my list, but I am excited for it because the first one was so damn fun. I have
Yeah.
2 very big questions for that movie, or wants for that movie, I guess. One is I hope we get more backstory because what they teased in the first one was pretty fucking wild, and I hope they expand on that more because that was really cool. And 2, Kristen Bell's in this movie, and she's very picky with acting roles. So I'm like,
I didn't even know.
what is in this movie that she said yes?
Yeah, that's
That-
crazy.
That blows my mind.
That is
She doesn't.
that choice.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
to say like that like something like this would be beneath her, but it just like it's very much a stretch for her. I feel
That would be more a movie
I
for
feel
her.
the same way.
yeah,
Where
exactly.
he's like he's like the without a paddle type. Like that's like the same world. Or I guess her role. She's a little too good an actor for it, maybe. But then again, so is David Harbour. Like he's a very good actor,
Yes, he is.
in my opinion. And so
Maybe Dax just signed on for her. He was like, "You got to take this." I read the script. It's insane. Number 9, right?
Yeah,
I
number
haven't.
9,
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say what you had.
yeah. I got Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I didn't like the last season of Mandalorian at all, but like the first season was one of the best Star Wars things in my opinion. It was so good and captured me right away. Like I literally have a Mandalorian helmet sitting in my room right now. I love that first season of that show, and I hope that because apparently like they wanted to do a movie because they couldn't agree between like creative differences and whatnot. So I hope that they're kind of just doing their thing, and that's why it's a movie. And hopefully it's better than what they released in the last season.
It's crazy because I'm a season 3 defender. Now, I think it's probably my least favorite season of the 3, but I'm a big Rebels and Clone Wars fan. So seeing the kind of Mandalore stuff pay off was like big for me. Do I
Yeah.
think it was handled the absolute best? No, but I still really liked it. I don't understand why people hated it, but if you did, that's fine. I get it. My number 9 is this movie called Disclosure. It's the next Steven Spielberg movie. There's not really much known about it other than it's an original movie that has to do with UFOs. Some of the cast is Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell. So solid cast. It's
Good
Steven
hands.
Spielberg.
Spielberg,
He's going back.
We're good.
Yeah, going back to the sci-fi genre. I'm like, okay, because I feel like his last few movies have been like very personal and kind of, I say simple, but I'm not saying it in a bad way. They've been, very personal projects to him that tell kind of simple stories. So for him to go back to the grander sci-fi of it all, I'm very intrigued by that. Like there's not much out there about it at all, really. So I'm just like,
even heard about it, so that's crazy.
I recently just watched his I think it's called War of the Worlds, that Tom Cruise movie. I think it is by
Yes.
Spielberg, which I had for some reason never seen. And I know it's like a big, almost classic probably movie. And I saw it recently, and yeah, that movie was really, really cool. It's one of those movies where I was shocked I hadn't seen it when I did. And I was like, I just went in putting it on to like, just bike and work out with just kind of a background movie. And I ended up just sitting and not getting anything done and watching the whole thing. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So that's cool. Well, I'll definitely be seeing Disclosure as well.
Yeah, I think Spielberg's just like one of those directors that's like, even if you don't like the movie, it's not a bad movie. Like it's always going to be a good movie. Like no matter, you're going into a good movie. Like he's honestly probably like the most consistent director in my opinion of all. Like, yeah, I can't think of many directors that can top him in terms of like consistency. I don't know. He's up there.
He's definitely up there. My number 8 was Resident Evil, like we said before. What did you guys have at number 8?
So for number 8 here, we have classic movie. I just realized also that almost all of these are sequels. So my bad. That's movie 10. We have Scary Movie 6 here. We don't really need to say much about Scary Movie 6 besides the fact that it's going to be amazing, and they're bringing back most of the original cast. I rewatched so many of them recently. They're the best thing. Anna Faris is the funniest comedian we've watched. A couple of her movies this year, just out of really just opening up whatever streaming site, and then
she's like the most underrated actress.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's so
Agreed.
funny. She's so funny.
So that's just going to be such a cool movie. If you get 20 great laughs out of it, like I'm sold. That's all I need.
Any comedy movies now that I'm like, even if I'm just slightly interested, I'm going. Like I want to see more of them. I love it. It's such a good experience. Yeah.
What was your number 8, Vinny?
I got Mortal Kombat 2. Let's go. I love the first one. I think I know it was weird because a lot of people loved it, and a lot of people hated it. I think it's hard to gauge because something like that, it's it's an older thing, so they have such a loyal fan base that it makes it harder when something like that comes out, where it's the same thing with Resident Evil or whatever. It just becomes where it's some people, you could literally put out a 10 out of 10 movie and people will hate on it regardless, just because they have their predetermined ideas of what the movie should be, right? Yeah, I thought the first Mortal Kombat was great. This one, what's his name? The guy from The Boys.
Carl Urban.
Yes, Carl Urban. Thank you. As soon as I saw him come in, I was like, "Yup, we're back. We're good. Let's go." I don't know. He makes it even more exciting because I know he's gonna be the fucking funniest guy on the planet.
I love that they're making his version of Johnny Cage kind of like a washed up version of him. I like that so much because so many people were like, Carl Urban is Johnny Cage, huh? I wouldn't see that, but I was like, let this man cook. This dude has more range than what we've seen in The Boys. He's been that dude. He is like the king of franchises. He's in Lord of the Rings. He's in. He was Judge Dredd. He was in the MCU. I'm sure I'm missing other things. I think he was in some DC movie or something. Like the dude has been in everything.
Judge Dredd is another really underrated movie.
So
Judge Dredd is awesome.
I feel like he's, to me, people might disagree, but he very much is a chameleon, and like in movies.
Yes.
Where, like a lot of the time, you were like, "Oh, that
Yeah,
was
it
him."
takes a second
Yeah.
to even notice. Like,
Yeah.
especially with when he was in the Thor movies, like it didn't click for a little bit. Like it's just, especially he was like bald in it, right? So it was
Yeah.
like
Yep.
it was a little bit, like I didn't even realize it until I got, and I was like, oh, because then he'll make like a certain face that's a little more Carl Urban, you know what I mean? And then you'll notice it a bit more. But he's a chameleon.
I'm stoked for both those movies as well. I will not watch another trailer for Mortal Kombat 2 because the reason Mortal Kombat 1 bummed me out, and it wasn't the fault of the movies, it was the fault of the trailers. They showed every single kill.
That happens so often now, and it's so frustrating. I literally, like, if I have the slightest interest in a movie, I don't watch anything anymore because it just like it'll literally spoil everything, and I feel like it's almost like a brain rot problem where like they need to.
Yes.
Attention span.
What'd you guys have at number 7?
Number 7 here we had Evil Dead Burn. This is another movie sin from the movie and non-film guy. I have never seen the original Evil Dead. I've never
I know, sacrilege.
I know. For some reason,
especially he's like you're the biggest horror fan here too, which is weird.
I know.
You've watched so many more horror movies than I have, and but like skipping Evil Dead is crazy.
I know. For some reason, it just never. And plus, I love, like, my favorite movies of all time are the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Evil Dead never called to me ever. And I'm sure I'll try it out someday soon. And for some reason, I was inclined, though, to watch the modern ones, and I loved them so much. I was like, these are really cool movies.
Yeah, the remakes have been insanely good, though, because it's good that they took, like, a different approach to them, which was, like, just perfect.
And to me, these are the originals in the sense where I'm like, oh, it's not like
I don't even fight you right now.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the homage. I'm just feeling like this is a cool idea. Yeah, I think Evil Dead Burns is going to be cool. For me, it's just like modern ones have been really nice, and I'm sure it will ignite the need to see the original in me sometime soon. I'm sure.
I love the modern Evil Dead 2. I don't know if you'll like the old one if you're comparing it to the new ones because it's very different.
It's completely
very
different. Like the original one is more along the lines of like scary movie. Like that's clearly the world falls in. Like it's a very silly movie. I love it. I think it's hilarious. Especially I have it on VHS. If you want to watch it, we got to watch it like that first. By the way, huge VHS collector, like both of us. He has like a lot of animated stuff. I have over 500 VHS tapes that I've collected over the last like 3 years. Yeah, I'm a big movie collector. So there's a lot of movies that, like, what's cool is that I got to see a lot of movies that I've always wanted to see for the first time on VHS. That to me is like a cool way to experience those, because it kind of puts you more in that like era if you're watching like an 80s movie or something where you kind of get like a different feel because there's more grain and all these things, and the colors look a little different and whatnot, right? So yeah, I mean, I literally fall asleep every night. I have a mini CRT TV beside like my bed, and I fall asleep with the VHS tape every night. That's like my ritual.
Damn.
I do not go to bed without one.
That was what I did when I was a kid. That's awesome.
I'm saying something insanely controversial as the biggest Denis Villeneuve fan. I hated Dune Part 2. I hated Dune Part 2. One of the biggest problems is I'm not an Austin Butler fan at all. Like everybody seems to love him. I do not get it at all. And that to me, I think threw the whole movie off. Like he was like a distraction for me on screen. And like I said, this is coming from like, I think Denis Villeneuve can do no wrong. Like he's a beast. He's just like, he's one of those guys that like, every time I go into one of his movies, I'm just like, it's almost like a Spielberg thing where I'm like, I know I'm in good hands. And I disliked Dune Part 2 so much, but I'm still excited to see Dune Part 3, and it still made it onto my list. But like,
just number what? Number 7?
Yeah.
Damn, that's my number 1.
Oh my god.
Well, I love Dune Part 2, but Dune Messiah will not have Austin Butler in it.
I know exactly. So that's how it made it onto the list.
The thing too is like that's totally a taste thing too, where it's like you can't deny Dune Part 2's like objective goodness. Like its quality is just
No, it's a
undeniably there.
great looking movie. It's just not for me, that one. I love Do Part One. I thought it was really, really good. I know a lot of people complain about the pacing and whatnot, but I thought it was great. It was, it's one of those movies like we were talking about where it's just like, it's long, but it has to be long. There's so much to say. You're like building a world. Like you gotta, there's a lot to it. But yeah, it still made it onto my list. I'm hyped. I trust Villeneuve. I guess we gotta just make sure that sometimes he makes sure to consider my casting choices. You know what I mean? It'd be appreciated.
My number 7, going on the horror train that you guys have kind of started, I have 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I know some people didn't like 20 Years Later. I fucking loved it. I think it has one of the most wild bookending scenes I've seen in a movie in a long time. I know some people also hated that too. What I love about it, and the thing that confused me the most, is that the 28 whatever franchise has always placated on being their own thing while playing into the greater world. And this movie is, well, the first one was that. It wasn't a direct sequel. It just took place in the world. And I loved that. Some people thought like the camera techniques that Danny Boyle used were corny. And I'm like, this is the dude that started the whole trend of people using camcorders. Like he is a trendsetter. And I was like, he's doing it again.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. And I feel like it's so insane to say things like, I feel like I've never seen anything like that before. And I feel like a lot of that movie was like that. The kid performance who played Spike was great. I'm really excited to see what the Jimmys pull in this sequel. And Nia DaCosta is directing this one. She did the Marvels, if you're an MCU person, which I know people can take or leave, but she also did the Candyman reboot. I think it's technically reboot. But that movie was sick too. Had a whole lot of style. I'm excited to see where this goes. My number 6, I feel like it might be on one of your guys' list at least, is Spider-Man Brand New Day. The fourth Spider-Man movie ever. No one knows who Peter Parker is. The Hulk's in it. Punisher's in it. Scorpion's coming back. He's teasing some stuff with Venom. I have no idea what this movie's going to be, but Destin Daniel Cretton's directing it, so I know the action's going to be insane. They showed those crazy behind the scene things of him doing, practical web swinging. There's explosions. I am fucking here, and I love Tom Holland. Hot take: I think Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man, both combined. I think he is the best Peter Parker and Spider-Man combined.
I respect it. I grew up with Tobey. Spider-Man is my favorite character of all time, my favorite movies of all time. I've watched I watch all Spider-Man movies multiple times a year I watched Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 last week. That's number 1 on my list. It's definitely a respectable opinion. Like I feel like any of the 3, to be honest, are a respectable pick for that. But for Tom Holland, he is the most down the middle 50-50, right? Where it's like,
that's true.
Tobey is like definitely the best like Spider-Man to me, like where he's Spider-Man leaning. And then
you can never top the Tobey Maguire screams. Seriously, like they add so much to like there's such like an iconic part of the character to me. Like it almost feels weird seeing Spider-Man without like those types of screams.
Andrew Garfield is like Peter Parker is like, he's Peter Parker leaning, which is really lovely, and Tom Holland's down the middle. I think I agree with like that pick. He's like the Sidney Crosby for hockey people of that, where he's just well-rounded, like 200-foot players, that kind of thing, where it's like he does both very beautifully. So.
Yeah, and I didn't like the villains in the Andrew Garfield one, but I feel like he had the most like his Peter Parker was emotionally complex, but also kind of like silly, where he's always breaking up with his girlfriend. He had like serious reasons, but I'm saying like that's what Peter Parker is. Like he is kind of like all over the place. He's a mess, and that's what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. Is like he's a hot mess, and it works though. And I think Andrew Garfield nailed that. But I do agree that like you guys are saying, where he does have like Tom Holland has that 50-50 thing where he just does both really well, and they kind of sync together really well. He doesn't do one better than the other. He's just like he is the guy like for both.
Our number 6 is for John and I is Scream 7, which I see a little ghost face behind you. I mean, to us, I haven't been a fan too much of modern Scream movies, but I can appreciate them the way I do movies like, I assume I will, the original Evil Dead, where it's like the campiness is fun, like where you know, I've watched a lot of movies that I hadn't seen recently in the horror world because like I've watched a lot of horror movies, but a lot of them are more modern leaning. But I've been
Mm.
working my way backwards. There's something so fun about, you know, a Freddy versus Jason, which is hardly a horror movie. Or like these kinds of movies that are like just silly, goofy, and like horror. Like there's just something about those, and Scream is the ultimate version of those. I think the Scream trilogy, like 1, 2, 3, to me is a top 3 horror trilogy. I think they're so like good for what they are. Like they're not necessarily the greatest horror movies of all time, but for what they're trying to accomplish, to me, they're like those movies are basically that trilogy's like a 10.
And I think this one is a sequel to those 3 more than anything. It seems
Yes.
like.
It's gonna be I'm
They're
definitely
excited.
going. I hope I get to enjoy it, but definitely ticket for that. Absolutely.
You want to pronounce that for me before I embarrass myself?
Yeah. Coyote versus Acme.
Thank you.
Is Vinny's
Coyote is such a weird like word for me to
Coyote.
say for whatever reason. Anyways, Will Forte, the man, the myth, the legend. This movie wasn't supposed to come out, and apparently it is now. So I'm like very hyped. It was like because I think they were just kind of it's a Warner
They
Brothers
shelved
thing,
it,
right?
yeah.
They shelved it, and then it was like
another company
yeah, they
brought it.
yes.
Someone else bought it. Yeah.
I biggest Will Forte supporter. I loved the Looney Tunes movies that were like with the real life. Like that was such a cool part of my childhood. Like I love those movies. I think they did such a great job incorporating like Space Jam's awesome.
Yeah.
Like once again, like you're saying with the Scream movies, where it's like it's a 10 for what it is. It went
Yeah.
out to do a thing and it did that thing perfectly. So it's like you can't whether you like it or not is fine, but it's like definitely a good movie.
Absolutely.
And I love those movies. So I'm excited to see what a guy like Will Forte is going to bring to the table for something like that. Because I'm a huge Looney Tunes guy. So
Yeah, I'm stoked that movie's just coming out.
Exactly.
It's cool that it gets to have a second life.
Yeah.
Because it's always a bummer when movies are like completely done and they're just like, nope, we're just gonna throw it away. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
especially like when it would be like for tax reasons or whatever, where they'll collect some of the money back and whatnot.
Yeah,
Just at that point, it should be a kind of thing that it's like if you're forfeiting, it should be like public domain or something, where it's just it comes out,
Yeah,
where it's like you know what I mean, like find a way to release it, where it's like if you don't
Yeah.
want to do that, you want to claim it, sure, but you also kind of have to just let it go at that point, like I don't know,
For the people.
yeah, for
Oh,
the people,
exactly.
like you like people like spend I doubt this is somebody's life's work, but like, what if it was like that sucks, like maybe that's the movie that somebody's been looking to make their whole life, and then it's just somebody in the studio doesn't want to do it, so it's not coming out.
I always like to say like movies are miracles, man. Like it's crazy that we live in a time where people have these ideas, make them, and we get to enjoy them. Like it's crazy. I think it's
Absolutely.
absolutely absurd to even think about. So the fact that some of them, like you said, is it someone's life's work? Probably not, but they still work their ass off on it.
Exactly. Like, we do like music videos and social media content all the time. And like, I sincerely don't think people just understand how difficult it is to do any kind of like filming anything. It's so much
Yeah.
and it takes so much time that, like you said, it's a miracle that movies come together at all. It's just insane. Like there's so many moving pieces, a million things to take care of, and somehow like there's a reason the credits take 5 minutes to get through. Like it's
Yeah.
so much that goes into making movies. So it's just I don't know. Like you said, it's a miracle that happens.
Number 5. What do you guys got? Number 5.
We are gonna go with Toy Story 5. Just a classic series.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino agrees with you guys, by the way. He says that Toy Story 1, 2, 3 are like some of the best movies of all time. Like he says he's a huge Toy Story fan, which is hilarious to me.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're
Toy
amazing.
Story is one of the
They're great.
That and Toy Story 2 are some of the VHSs I own like 5 copies of in case of an apocalypse, where it's like, okay, cool. If I run through the tape, we're gonna get a couple backups. It's just such a good idea, concept, film series, and the voice acting is lovely. I'm the biggest animation person. I love animation, and that's just like one of the prime examples of innovation in animation that excites. So yeah, Toy Story 5 is our number 5. What's your number 5?
Yeah, okay. This is one of the shocking ones. It's so funny that it's this like it's a number 5 spot. I used to love these movies as a kid. I'm excited to see Fokker in Law because I'm a huge Ben Stiller fan. Robert De Niro, obviously, and both of them like coming back to do this is like worlds colliding again for me. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is my favorite movie of all time. So like, yeah. So Ben Stiller is just like he's the guy, you know. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited. That's my number 5.
My number 5, which is probably low for many people, but it's Avengers Doomsday.
That's coming up on our list.
Yeah.
I love the MCU. I've been in since day one. I could say I'm probably obsessed with it and know way too many things about it that most people don't. I was at San Diego Comic-Con with my wife. We were doing press when they announced Robert Downey Jr. and the Russos coming back. So this also kind of has a special place in my heart. Since Endgame was announced, I was like, they're going to do Secret Wars. They introduced time travel. Secret Wars is coming. Let's go. So when they finally announced Secret Wars, I was like, it's my time. It's my time. I don't care that they switch from Kang to Doom because Doom is the villain of Secret Wars anyway. I kind of hope
Doom is definitely better.
Doom is better. Kang is cool. And I like what they did with Kang in Loki. What they did with Kang and Loki is awesome. I love that Tom Hiddleston's going to be a part of this movie. When they did the chairs announcement, once he was announced, I'm like, let's fucking go. Because Loki needs to be a central part of this movie. He is what made the multiverse a thing. If you haven't watched the Loki series, it's some of the best writing Marvel has ever done.
Yes.
No fucking joke. So good. I'm excited to see, you know, all the X-Men interact with a bunch of the new people. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. is one of the best actors alive. Like there is no, especially after Oppenheimer, I don't think anyone has doubted that anymore. And for him to go, his next movie after winning an Academy Award is to come back to the thing he started as a villain. I am not going to doubt that for 1 second.
Yeah.
And especially same with the Russos. Who cares what they've done after Endgame? Some of it I've liked, none of it I've hated. But is it on the level of the stuff they did in the MCU? No, I can obviously, but they are the best at making event MCU movies.
Yes,
There's no one better than them.
That's the thing. In looking at their stuff post Endgame, a lot of the stuff was written by them, and then, or not written, but like created by them, or maybe even written by them in some cases. And the reviews weren't favorable, and it wasn't necessarily the greatest things. So I've heard maybe that's not their thing. Maybe their thing really is just getting, you know, having the idea already in place, having somebody else write it, and coming and executing the job just as the directors. Like for that, I would agree that, you know, regardless of any other work or endeavors they might choose to partake in, that job is theirs. Like they are the greatest at doing it.
I was so worried about like when Kang was still the guy, I was like, uh-oh. Because I just feel like there's no way Kang could ever top Thanos. Disney almost got an easy out by going like and swapping and everything. Like, you know what I mean? Where like now it's like RDJ, it's like everybody's gonna go see that movie. You like everybody's gonna go see that movie. It's gonna make $2 billion or whatever. Like, you know, it's gonna do well. And it's RDJ, so he probably can top himself somehow because he's the best guy around. Like he's one of those actors.
I'm free ball on the order of the list. I've had the list for a while.
Free ball.
No, that's going to be number 3 on my list. I mean, yeah, we're the biggest MCU people as well. Especially to me, I still think the best MCU movie is probably Iron Man 1. So to see RDJ back is like, I say Iron Man 1. That's a personal favorite. The best, objectively, is probably Civil War or Winter Soldier. Doesn't get enough love. That in rewatching them like recently, we're like, oh, that's like the.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I'm the guy who reads multiple comic books a day. The one thing that's been missing in all of superhero movies forever is that togetherness of like the best part about a comic book is that you can open a Fantastic Four comic and then on page 4, for some reason, you'll have Daredevil come in and be a part of 2 pages, and then he'll fuck off. Or it's like the openness of that world without making it a spectacle, like just being like, hey, like the way they did it in No Way Home, where Daredevil popped up and he was just like a part of the thing, and then not so. He just left. You don't need to have him be the most integral part of the movie and be in every scene. Just having people come in and out of that, because that's what it would be like, right? If you have 200 superheroes ripping around New York, more likely than not, through one of the adventures, you're going to run into another one just for a moment. Hey, what's up? Here. Oh my God, we want to fight Kingpin. Cool. I'll see you later, She-Hulk. Like most likely that would happen. So to see that come together in Doomsday, having all the X-Men and all the rights finally in one place, it's just gonna be the coolest thing.
Yeah, like there was a comic book that you like gave to me that was Blade and Wolverine, and I remember you get to like page 4, and all of a sudden there's Doctor Doom, and it's just like just the mix already. You're like, what is going on? And then they like go back in time too with Blade, and it's just like the whole thing's just so crazy and out there. And like you said, I want to see more of that. Of like, take the craziest swings, like go for it. Show as many characters as you can, because they don't need to. You don't need Chris Evans to be like, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
exactly.
you can have like seaside characters pull up with actors that nobody's ever heard of, just to like put them in there. Like,
and
it's just cool.
They don't only need to be end credit scenes. They can be they don't need to be post credits. Like a lot of them, I do like the idea of, like, from what I understand that they're gonna do with the DC universe, which is like just making it less special in a sense, where it's like more casual, where it's like it doesn't need to be like, oh my God, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Just make it more casual and seem like they are actually a part of everyday life, and it's not a cataclysmic event.
Because that's also like a problem in terms of like for Marvel, where it's, if you're setting up these huge things every time, all people's expectations are so high that you're for sure disappointing people before the movie even comes out.
Now they get to play that with the multiverse and 30 years of Marvel history. I'm sure Toby is going to show up in one or both. I'm sure Andrew's going to be in one or both. Hugh and Ryan, there's been big talks that they're already in Doomsday, which would make sense. Like, you got to bring these people back. You got to pay off the
Thor,
what they've been setting up. Why was Thor crying?
Why
was he crying?
I'm the Blade fan, so I need Blade back. Blade is like, that's my guy. I love Blade.
Yeah, that's what I loved about Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like they're like, "Yep, we're gonna do multiverse stuff, and then we're gonna give you all of the people you would have never expected you would get." And I was like, respect.
My jaw was on the floor when I saw Blade walk. It was like the last person I would have expected.
MCU fun fact, just before we move on to the next one. Yeah, the original version had, instead of having Elektra and Blade, I think had Nick Cage Ghost Rider and Ben Affleck Daredevil. That would have been a cool version. But it's the window's open. You never know.
I love the Ben Affleck Daredevil
that
movie.
Could be the
It's a great movie. That's the most 2000s movie ever. It's great. Evanescence playing and everything. Like, come on. Let's go.
So now we're at number 4.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Project Hail Mary. I've seen the trailer. I haven't seen anything else about it. I was just like, it's such a weird looking movie. Ryan Gosling. I mean, Ryan Gosling can do no wrong. I don't even know how to describe it. You've seen, like that movie looks so weird, and there's whatever, I don't know what's intriguing me so much, but I'm so excited for that movie, and I have no idea really what it's about, but space, Ryan Gosling, I'm in.
Yeah, it's one of those trailers that's interesting, like a weapons type trailer or something, where it's like, you're like, I don't really know what I'm in for here, but I know that I want to be part of the journey.
Yeah.
It's that kind of vibe. Yeah, that's a very cool pick.
That's my number 4 too.
Oh, let's go.
Nice. Sick.
I actually, after the movie got announced, and Lord and Miller, the people who did, I think people forget they did 21 and 22 Jump Street, but they did those movies. And obviously the people who made Spider-Verse, they're directing this movie. I read the book like a month ago. It's incredible.
Oh yeah.
And and reading the book, it feels like it's Ryan Gosling, the main character.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because he just has that. He's a super smart scientist. I don't want to give too much away, because so many book people were like, they gave too much away. And hearing you guys say I have no idea what I'm watching is the best. That's good. It's told in a really special way that I hope they keep from the book, and I think they have to for how the story goes. And I don't even want to say anything else, but it does have like an air of comedy to it, with it being very serious at the same time.
And Ryan Gosling is definitely
that's his lane.
Yeah, that's
his lane.
Yeah,
and it has some Interstellar vibes, which I'm sure you can kind of get from the trailer, but it's way more funny.
Yeah, to me, it comes off like the vibe. Having seen this one, and obviously we haven't seen Project Hail Mary, or I haven't read it either, but like, I don't know if you've seen the Mickey 17, but like that kind of world where it's like,
A little bit.
and I might be entirely wrong. Just the vibe having like both the serious and the comedy in the sci-fi seems like it could be maybe in that kind of
Yeah, because
globe.
people always take sci-fi like very seriously.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be. It could still be silly, you know.
And that's a movie that sort of like, makes comedy out of the concept of death, which is like doing that's already a swing, and making it sci-fi is even more so. So, anyways, but yeah, that's a cool movie. I think I'm gonna come see it with you for sure.
I'm very, very, very hyped for that movie. That's a good comparison tonally for sure. Mickey 17 tonally, not plot wise. Obviously, it's very different, but
That's
tonally it's very similar. Yeah. Because yeah, like you said, sci-fi is always kind of seen as like super serious,
Yeah.
down to business kind of thing. But adding like an air of like lightness and comedy to it is very refreshing. And like reading it, it was super easy to read because they say some real sciencey shit in that book, but it does not feel super sciencey at the same time. And it's hard for me to read sci-fi because of that. And I love watching sci-fi. Like I talked about Dune. Like I love I mean, Severance, same thing. But reading it is super hard for me because it's all just like jargon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And this has that, but it's fun.
They have to somehow explain stuff that like exists but doesn't exist, but then they start using their own terms too, which gets super confusing because already like going into any book, if you're introducing, I don't know, like 30 characters, it's already like you're like, okay, wait, who's who, right? Like it already sometimes becomes like you're catching up on names, and then you have to learn like all these terms at the same time. It's just so intimidating to go into like these huge sci-fi books that are just like so out there.
Yeah, it's the same thing with my my nerdy comics, where it's like, the cosmic stuff, exactly. It's always a mouthful where it's like, okay, I think you lost me there for a couple paragraphs. And our number 4 is Minions 3.
Let's
go, because and it's so high up there because I've seen Despicable Me 1. I saw Despicable Me 4 the other day. I've missed a lot of the ones in the middle. I've never seen Minions 1. But Vinny and I were in a swing where we when we have time for this, we love to go to the movies once a week. We'll just see whatever is like, calls to us. And we saw Minions 2 again, had not seen Minions 1, had not seen a lot of it, like Despicable Me 2 or 3. And we were like, we're going to see Minions 2 tonight. And we went in there, and it was an Impractical Jokers experience where I was like, this is a 10 on 10. This is one of the greatest movies.
It was like, so good. It was genuinely so good.
For what it's trying to do, it's just a 10 on 10 where it's like, it's exactly what you want and more. It was beautifully animated. It was the funniest thing. There might be 6 lines of dialogue in that movie, but it's just so good. For that theater experience alone, I want to, like, it's high on my list because of it. Like, I want to go see Minions because of that.
That's amazing. Wow, I love that story. That's great. My number 3 is The Adventures of Cliff Booth.
Oh,
it is,
God, I don't even know how that didn't even make it onto my list. That's crazy. We'll put it in honorable mentions for me for sure. Yeah, I've never.
Yeah,
it's the Once
so,
Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like,
yeah, it's basically a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino wrote it, but David Fincher is directing it. I fully believe that Quentin Tarantino is going to go in his screenwriter era to forego him ever doing a 10th and final movie where he can still do movies but not direct them. That's my theory. I don't know if that's true.
That would be the most Quentin thing I've ever heard. Yeah, I agree with that.
A guy like that to try and hang it up, I don't
certainly would. Yeah, certainly would. I had a friend, my friend Scott, he hosts this podcast called the Church of Tarantino podcast. And it is like the most in-depth, well-made Tarantino podcast, hands down. I was on it a few times. I was on it once, I think. My wife was on it a few times. She's also a massive Tarantino fan. And he got invited to fly out to LA to interview Quentin in person. And he got to see the whole bloody affair at his theater in LA. And his interview, all the story bites that came out a few months ago about Tarantino were from his interview. So shout out Scott if you're listening to this. That dude deserved it. And it's really cool that he got to do it. And there was a lot of cool tidbits that Quentin revealed through that stuff of like how he had his last movie, how he was going to do a TV series, and what happened with all that. So that's how I kind of have this theory. He didn't outright say that, but that's just me thinking of what he's going to do. It's going to be a Netflix movie because for some reason David Fincher signed his soul to Netflix. But with recent Netflix offerings, they have been showing stuff in theaters more widely.
Yes.
I live in a pretty small city in upstate New York. I saw Frankenstein in the theater at my local theater. The new Knives Out is playing right now, which I'm like, I can't believe they're playing this here. Because there's a pretty bigger city like an hour away, and sometimes they get that stuff, and that makes sense. But we've been getting it here. The Stranger Things finale is listed on the Stranger Things site for my theater, but it's still not on sale at my theater. So I'm hoping that happens because I really want to see that in a theater because I think that would be the coolest shit ever. But I'm putting more stock and respect for Netflix for doing more of that, but also not because I think it's the filmmakers that are making it happen, not Netflix. And they're just finally being like, okay, we'll do it. Jesus. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. It's money. Why would you turn away money? It doesn't make sense to me. So,
and especially when you have a guy like let's say Guillermo del Toro, he's not making you a movie without it going to theaters. There's no way the guy will fight to the death. And Frankenstein is a movie by definition. Like it's such a huge movie to watch, and there's so much information to take in. It's like seeing it on a small screen just doesn't like give the art its proper thing. It deserves to be loved the way it was. So
and especially with Quentin writing this, and I think this is going to get a bigger release than most, I would imagine, or else he would have not agreed to having Fincher direct it, knowing that it is a Netflix movie. So, and he held on to The Bloody Affair because he didn't want people to own it digitally. And they're just now releasing it wide into theaters. Like he was that precious where he didn't want anyone to watch it digitally. He's like, I want people to experience this in the theater. So I am hoping they get a bigger release than even these movies have been getting. So we'll see. But you say David Fincher and Quentin Tarantino wrote it. Brad Pitt coming back. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, our number 3 was Doomsday, which we jumped into for a little bit. Just Doomsday. Which was excited to see the comeback and the meshing of all the universes and everything. So,
and mine's Clayface. I'm so excited for Clayface because I used to watch the Batman animated series like on repeat when I was a kid, and Clayface is just one of the coolest characters and such. I'm as excited as I am worried because it's probably the hardest character to portray, in my opinion, from comic books on screen. There's you literally have to be the craziest. You have to have the craziest cast rather, to make that movie work, because it just has to be there was this show on Netflix called something Carbon, and it was a sci-fi show, and it was
Altered Carbon.
First season, one of my favorite seasons of any show ever. And season 2, they used Anthony Mackie in the character, and it didn't work at all, and threw everybody off within the first 5 minutes of the first episode starting. And it just they had set up this beautiful, amazing idea where it's basically these humans that swap sleeves of into other bodies, so they'd have to swap actors, right? And they'd serve time jail sentences with 300 years, so everybody is dead, but you're just in the future now. And it was just a cool concept, perfectly executed in the first season. It was very Blade Runner, and then the second season was just so miscast that I remember people started talking about the fall off numbers from the watching after, and it was everybody stopped after episode 1, which is which is crazy because the first season was beloved. And it's if everybody stops watching after the first episode, you really, really messed up. So yeah, I'm excited for Clayface. A little worried, but let's go with it. Clayface is one of the coolest ideas, and plus when they're going to the horror movie thing, let's go. I'm in.
Body horror DC movie. Sign us up.
Yeah, I trust the process.
Yeah, that's what I had at number 10, and then the Ready or Not trailer came out and it just nudged it out. So definitely a big honorable mention for me. I am super stoked for that movie because one, Mike Flanagan wrote the script, and Mike Flanagan is that fucking guy.
Yes,
1000%. The director is a good director. He did the American version of Speak No Evil, which was pretty good, but obviously it's I think that's a good 1-to-1 to bring over and have him direct it. And James Gunn started in body horror stuff. He's obviously not he's producing it. You know, he's the head of the studio. He's not like directly involved.
No,
But and they made it for $40 million. So many people are like, how are they going to make a Clayface movie work? That's you make it as a low budget horror movie. That's what you do. My biggest hope, and they don't need to do this, but I think it'd be the smartest thing ever, is if they secretly cast who the Batman is in the DCU and they have him show up like at the end.
Yeah,
Because that would get everyone talking. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take away from the Clayface of it all, or at least hint that Batman is there. You know, like this is going to be the first time seeing Gotham in live action.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty important touchstone for this new DC universe.
Yeah.
And like you guys were saying, like from like Superman to Peacemaker, they do already have that kind of feel where like, oh, that movie I just saw, these people are showing up in the show already. So
Yes.
and I don't know who would show up in this, but we'll see. Maybe they'll introduce more Batman Rogues Gallery type people within it too. I have no idea. But I'm stoked for like, because this next year is kind of like the biggest test for the DCU, because the first year was all James Gunn stuff. You know, he either wrote and directed it or wrote it or whatever. You know, he's very hands-on. And this next year is going to be, you know, we got Clayface, the body horror movie. Then we get Supergirl, which is written by the guy who wrote the Supergirl graphic novel that it was based on, directed by the guy who did I, Tonya and Cruella. And that's going to be a more space trotting adventure type movie. And then we have Lanterns, which is written by the guy, Damon fucking Lindelof, you know, who did these super small shows like Lost and The Leftovers and the Watchmen series. And it's show run by the guy who did fucking Ozark. And it's everyone's like, yeah, it's these space cops, but it's like True Detective. And I'm like,
yeah, he hasn't seen Ozark. But Ozark like is one of the best shows out there. Like also, just and the handling is of like that kind of story was just perfectly executed. Like it was so good.
And I don't think I've ever seen a company with as good a batting record as HBO. Like when they're involved with things, like they just know how to like decipher, you know, between quality and
you're in good
you know
hands.
not so. Yeah, and this all brings us to my second pick here, which is Supergirl. That graphic novel, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, is the best graphic novel ever, and to me, which a lot of people aren't necessarily fans of Tom King, but it's just a perfect. I went into it as one of those things where I was just getting into DC a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, I'll give this a shot. I could not put it down. I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I just bought another copy of it physically 2 days ago because I want different formats of it. It's just, to me, one of the best books. And to have somebody like James Gunn in charge of the DCU, knowing that he's watching over it, having Tom King be a part, you know, involved in it, I think it's just there's like almost no way that they can fumble this. I think it's going to be such a cool movie. The casting is great. So that's my number 2. I think to me, that's going to be one of the coolest things. I hope people go and see it. I know sometimes for some reason you have some of the nerdy demographic that don't take too kindly for some reason to female characters being leads. I hope that, you know, it's good enough a movie to get the numbers despite some people struggling with their
I wish you could sigh louder. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's like, just, you know.
Yes.
But that's my number 2.
I'm there with you, and I think it does have good potential because Superman was like the negative crowd on Superman is very vocal, but it's so minor. Like you can't beat the numbers. You can't beat the ratings it's had across the board. The numbers it had when it went to streaming, and it was so genius to have her in that movie in such a small way because again, Crypto is Supergirl's dog, not Superman's dog, and to have Crypto, who was a shining star of that movie, and crazy that he is full VFX because he looks like a real fucking dog.
It doesn't show at all. It's crazy.
But who's better at VFX animals than James Gunn, or at least planning for VFX animals better than James Gunn? No one. So having him be the big tie to that movie is so smart. everyone loves crypto, and I think Jason Momoa is gonna bring a lot of people to this movie. Him
Oh.
being Lobo, which is way more fitting than Aquaman, and that's not in the comic either. So that's a new kind of spin on the story. So I'm excited to see how he is involved with it, and to finally see him what he's gonna look like. Because there's some great fan art of what Jason Momoa would look as Lobo, but I am so stoked to see it on screen. I think that's another honorable mention for me too. Like, I'm very stoked for that movie, but like I said, 2026 is fucking crazy. Would you have a number 2?
Yeah, I have The Mummy. I'm a huge Universal Monsters guy, so for me, like the possibility of this, I don't know if it's gonna be good, but you know, we saw Frankenstein a few weeks ago, and that was like one of the best experiences. I mean, I literally have Guillermo del Toro tattoos, so that obviously was a bit of an easy win for me. I hope that the Mummy movie is able to achieve, if it's something even in the world of something like a Frankenstein, I'll be over. The Mummy is quite an overlooked Universal monster. Like nobody really talks about that monster, which is, and it's one of the better movies out of the all. Like I don't personally love Wolfman much. Invisible Man is okay. The design's awesome, but The Mummy is a great movie, and it's really good. So I hope that they're able to make something like amazing out of it, because I think it'll surprise a lot of people, like what they can do with that character. Like,
Yeah, I hope Brendan Fraser does well again.
Which is really funny because that is also happening.
Yes, exactly.
I kind of felt bad for this movie because Lee Cronin's directing it. He directed Evil Dead Rise, so that makes me more excited for this movie too. But then, like, I felt bad that, like, oh yeah, Mummy 4 is happening. I was like, damn, that's
I
a
know.
bummer.
It's gonna,
or maybe it'll help because people will think it's.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Where's
Fraser?
Like I said, the Universal monsters for me, like that was my first introduction to horror. Really, was like my dad showed me like Creature from the Black Lagoon and Frankenstein when I was a kid. So that was like, those were the first real horror movies that I watched. I mean, I guess by today's standards, most people wouldn't count them as horror movies. They're kind of just like beautiful stories about monsters. It'll never make sense to me that in the 30s and 40s and 50s they were making movies about monsters first. Like the first opportunity to start making movies on a bigger scale, and they were making like these weird monster movies that are like sympathetic, and like it's so ahead of its, like if a movie like that, like Frankenstein, came out for the first time now, or Creature from the Black Lagoon, everybody would be like, wow, like this is amazing, like would have never expected it. And it's like, those were like some of the first real movies they were making, which is just like baffling to me.
My number 2, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Big Christopher Nolan guy. I like that we're seeing him do something more fantastical. I'm really excited to see how he pulls that off, because I know he obviously uses CGI. I mean, he made Inception, he made Interstellar, blah blah blah. The way he utilizes practical effects, I think, is, especially for like these big spectacle movies, are like unlike most people. So the cast is, I mean, every Christopher Nolan movie, I think at this point the cast is always insane. I think everyone's waiting to get the call. And I heard he doesn't have like a smartphone, he has like a home phone, and like he like calls people personally and asks them on his movie and shit, which is like, damn dude, all right, respect. I'm super stoked to see what Christopher Nolan pulls off of this. I think it's probably gonna be one of the biggest movies of the year. Like, he made a 4-hour half black and white biopic make almost $1 billion. I mean, come on.
The Odyssey is my number one, because I like, you know, Christopher Nolan's like, he has such a modern touch to movies, and he kind of almost started that, like with the cinematography that kind of matches, like it's hard to even describe, but just a super like modern edge to beautiful cinematography that felt so real, and it just, you immediately feel like, for, you know, when you're in Gotham or whatever, it feels like he always has his exact feel on things. And I'm like the most curious about this movie to see how he's going to do that type of thing, where he's like what's he going to do to get that feel for something like fantastical? Like how does this work? Like it's just such a reach, I guess, for Nolan to be doing that. I'm like so excited to just even like just go crazy. Do your thing. I trust you. You've done enough. I know you're gonna do a good job. Like I'm there day one. Let's go.
A year ahead of time, they sold first day showings for 70 millimeter IMAX screenings, and they sold out in seconds. Like that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
No one's seen anything. I think at that point you saw a picture, and it was like Matt Damon or something, and that was it. And people are like, "Yep, I'm buying tickets to this first day, sight unseen." Like that's the power of Nolan. And that's
I got
crazy.
literally.
You know, you guys had Spider-Man #1, right?
We had Supergirl #2, and then for #1. So I mean, that's all cool and lovely with the Odyssey. Seems fun. But moving on to real film, we have Spider-Man 4.
Spider-Man 4.
Phil.
I can't wait to see the Punisher, man.
Yeah, I am actually a huge Punisher fan as well.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite hero, I guess anti-hero really, growing up as a kid. So that's like, and I love John Bernthal.
Yeah, he's great.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
The insane scream all the time. Like, yep, that's what I want my Punisher to be doing. He's crazy. He's just a crazy guy.
Yeah. Then I hope they bring back Brute Hulk instead of just like, hey guys, this is Hulk here. I like that. Yeah, so I think they will have like a return to form for Hulk. So that would be really cool. And then besides Scorpion, which would be awesome, is that actor's lovely. I forget his name. Michael something, I believe.
Michael Mando.
Michael Mando, thank you.
You're so good with names.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Michael Mandalorian, he's really, really good. And so he's going to be really cool. But then also I saw who they cast for Tombstone, which is the same voice of Tombstone in the Spider-Verse movies. And he just looks exactly like
such
Tombstone.
an underrated character. Tombstone is awesome.
So that's really cool. And I've heard this is like, I'd probably put him as a C-lister in the Spider-Man world, but probably going to have Boomerang in this movie, which is like, I don't know, you guys might not even know Boomerang. Just like this, like, this like loser dude with boomerangs who's kind of like sometimes a villain, sometimes just a buddy of Spider-Man's, but he's just like he's just the best. And it's that kind of thing that like, it seems like they might be taking a DCU approach with it now of like, hey, let's put cool like things in it, and these guys don't need to be the heart and soul of the story. They could just appear. And,
I hope they're able to do the DCU though, like where Peacemaker still very much feels like it makes sense with Superman somehow. Like they make it, I hope that they can do the same thing with Punisher, where it's like, don't diminish who the Punisher is. Like he is the violent guy. He should be killing people at every corner. That's what he does. And that like, and you know, that should create a struggle with Peter Parker. Like that's obviously like it will. Yeah. It's like, that's the easiest dynamic. It's the most obvious one rather. And I really hope they don't dumb down the Punisher too much, because he is like supposed to be, you know, this maniac really. Like he's insane. Which is great.
I think they're putting him in the Hulk in this movie because if you think about it, Peter Parker is in a very weird, dark time in his life. He lost everyone. Even if not everyone died, they don't know who the fuck he is anymore. And that's a pretty bleak existence to live in. And I know, like in the script of No Way Home, one of the lines is like, as he's swinging through, one of the last lines is like, he is now fully Spider-Man. So this dude's going to be like sleeping, breathing, living Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. And that's going to be a really dangerous thing for him to do, because he always kind of had his friends to lean on and his family to lean on to kind of ground him. He doesn't have that anymore. And to have someone who is obviously the most rage-filled, vengeful motherfucker on planet Earth, and then have obviously someone who dealt with controlling their angers and emotions with Bruce Banner and the Hulk, and seeing him possibly go out of control with that as well. And the fact that they had that lingering thing about that certain black goo from the last movie laying around. I think this is all playing for a big recipe of him dealing with those kind of things. And I'm hoping we do get a conversation like we had with John Bernthal and Charlie Cox on that roof in Daredevil season 2. I hope we do have something very similar to that as well, because obviously like the Punisher's been through some more stuff as well since all of that. And obviously Peter Parker has as well. So I'm hoping that's why they're bringing him in for stuff like that. And I have no idea who Sadie Sink is playing, but I am so curious because they just talked about how she's going to be in Secret Wars. So I'm like, who the fuck is she playing? Like, what is going on? What is happening?
there are a couple characters she could play. She could play.
I think it's gonna be Spider-Verse Gwen Stacy. Like, I think that's gonna be like the type of role they're gonna go for. I think because if she's in Secret Wars, like I feel like, and also she was like talking about in an interview with Stranger Things that she like got shredded recently, like started working out like crazy. So I'm like, if she was playing like a side character that wasn't like Spider-Gwen or whatever, like she wouldn't, why would she get shredded? You know what I mean? Like she has to be playing some kind of hero or more, maybe she just really wanted to work out or something. But like, I feel like the hardcore motivation out of nowhere is probably some sort of hint that like, you know, maybe something's happening. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just I don't know too if they're gonna do like a Spider-Man character like an MJ, or maybe they do say maybe. Sorry, there's a riff. Yeah, maybe it's just they might do like a Marvel character instead. That's like, you never know. It depends on how they handle the X-Men, but I'm sure they have an overarching like plan with all the Secret War stuff and everything. So you know, maybe this is Hope Summers. Maybe they're introducing like an X-Men character like that, or a mutant, or somebody that's Spider-Man adjacent, but like not so much in the Spider-Man world. So that could be
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, one of my favorite lines from No Way Home actually too was the like talking about the darker Peter Parker a little bit was Andrew Garfield like says at one point, it's like talking about how like dark his world got and how he stopped holding his punches, and I was like, oh, I really want to see the Spider-Man movie where he's not holding back for once. You know, like show me that, show me the dark turn. Like let's go there. Like it's just, especially we've seen so much Spider-Man and we haven't seen like a very dark like, you know, thing in a while, where like the last time was probably like Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire. Like that was the last like dark turn that character took, and it's like it's been a while. Let's do it. Like let's have Peter Parker make some bad decisions and have to live with it. Like that's, you know, that's the Spider-Man kind of thing, right?
When the X-Men, the new version of the X-Men, the cast rumors started circulating a little while ago, Sadie Sink was rumored to play Jean Grey. How that makes sense in a Spider-Man movie, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Hope Summers
I
is
don't know.
the daughter, you know, of
Right.
Scott. So exactly, like that's what it just depends on how they handle the X-Men stuff, the MCU. But like it could. That was like my guess was literally just like, oh, it might be another like Marvel character that's not really all that, you know, involved with Spider-Man typically. So, but if they're throwing the Hulk and the Punisher in there, it's like it seems like, you know, everything's on the table. You can do whatever, you know. So guess we'll see.
Hope we see Daredevil too.
That could be sick.
Big Daredevil fan.
Guys, thank you so much for doing this. This was awesome. I love your guys' list. Good list.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, and especially I feel like we got some good crossover where I feel like your list was like, you know, some cool original picks, and then some of our list as well, some of Vince's list.
The Odyssey, Minions 3, just really, you know, just finding the cohesion.
Full spectrum of
But this was awesome. Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you. Sincerely.
Oh, no problem. You guys are welcome anytime. Sincerely, I sincerely mean that. I love people coming back, and the normal thing of the show is usually kind of talking about what we're watching currently too. So there's a lot to mine. There's a lot to dive into if you guys ever want to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
Doors open.
We'll do the current stuff, and then also hopefully if we have a jam-packed 2027 movies, we can do another list and come then.
I hope so.
But
last year and the next year have been like the craziest years of movies in so long. It's so crazy how much we're getting. I love it.
Now, Second Harbor's new EP Coalesce is out now, so make sure you check that out if you haven't already. Is there anything else anyone listening can look forward to from you guys in 2026?
2026, I mean, most likely by the end of the year we'll be having our first album or debut album coming in. So we're working hard at that. That's what our coming months look like. And then I'm sure we'll be playing more in the States. Yeah, we got to play our first tour ever in the States just a couple weeks ago, which is really lovely. But I'm sure we're going to be hitting, you know, tons of new places come the spring and summer. So just keep an eye out. And I hope everyone loves the EP we've put our blood, sweat, and tears into.
Amazing. I'll make sure and link everything down below so you can go check out Second Harbor if you haven't already. And if you want to support the podcast, go to metalcorners.com. Our links there in one easy place. And if you want to follow me in my personal account, it's just @SeanXMa on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, see you later, nerds.